Hey everyone, Karma Lichty here with Onward Studios. In this video, we're going to look at layers inside Photoshop. Now initially, if you're just learning Photoshop, layers may seem somewhat intimidating, but layers is actually one of the things that makes Photoshop so powerful. I have open here a postcard that has multiple layers, as we notice here in the Layers panel. Let's go over a few things about layers within the Layers panel. One of the reasons layers is so powerful is layers help you keep each element separate from all the other elements within, in this case, within this postcard. So for example, if you glance at these layers that we have here in the Layers panel, we have renamed them such that they correspond to what that layer is about. So in this one, we see it's a flower. If I turn that off and on, we see where that flower is in relationship to all the other elements of this file. It's also true with the second flower up in the top right. So it keeps elements separate from others. If I wanted to move an element below another element, layers lets me easily do that. For example, here is a small picture of a beach scene. Right now you can notice that this beach scene is underneath this flower at the top right. If I want to change that around, I'm going to go to my Layers panel. These are the two layers that we just talked about. There's the beach scene and there's the flower. If I want to bring that picture above that flower, I simply click on Bleach after I've selected it and move it up. And I see the solid black line right above the flower layer. I release my mouse and now you notice that that image sits on top of that flower. So that's how you can move things behind, in front of, etc. in relationship to other elements in your file. A couple other things to point out in this particular example. Notice this postage stamp, if you will, like a post office would put on an envelope that goes across here. I'm going to click on that layer here in the Layers panel. And notice up here in the top right of the Layers panel, the opacity of that is down to 25%. So it really lessens the impact or the visual of that layer. If I click on that drop down and bring this slider up to 100%, you can see what it looks like. That's what it looked like normally, but bringing that down lets you kind of, it lessens that, plus you can kind of see through it and see the elements behind it. So you have an opacity setting per layer. You can also turn layers off and on, which I believe I did. I'm not sure if I explained it, by clicking on the little eye icon right to the left of each of the thumbnails of each image. The thumbnail of each layer indicates what makes up that layer. So for example, this particular layer, we see the entire image or the size of the entire file, but only the content of this layer shows up on the top right. So a little checkered box means in this particular layer, the only content in this layer takes up the top right of the entire image. The rest is transparent, which is indicated by that checker box. Another thing about layers is you can affect the blend mode, meaning you can affect how a layer, the colors of one layer, interact with the colors below it. If you look at this particular example, we actually have two pineapples layers, and the contents are the same. I'm going to turn off the top pineapple layer, and you'll notice how the pineapple really fades back quite a bit. So by duplicating that, and then adding what we call an overlay blend mode, which is available at the top left of the Layers panel. These are all kinds of options. The overlay blending mode just makes that pineapple pop out a lot more, so it intensifies and saturates the color. Now you can change the blend mode to do something completely different. Okay, so different blending modes really affects how the colors of that particular layer interact with the colors below it. So that's a quick overview of layers. Again, layers lets you keep elements separate from other elements, so you can edit one element at a time versus affecting the entire image.